What is going on, everybody? It is the Going Over Big Time podcast. I am Mike Charlip, and I am joined once again by my friend and co host, Alan the Cantastic. Alan, how are you doing today?
Oh, great, Mike. Just another day, another crazy time in America where the president of the United States is building a UFC octagon outside his house and buying stocks in the same company.
Yeah,
And sometimes I wonder, like, oh, wow, you know, this is the guy who's running a nuclear arsenal.
oh boy. Yeah, well, we're not here to talk about that today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're not here to talk about TKO stocks and like all WWE. We are here to talk about AEW's Double or Nothing that just took place this past Sunday in Queens, New York, your backyard. A slew of matches. Um, we'll discuss some of them. Some of them short and quick. Others were just like bangers and
Yeah,
bordering on the ridiculousness, but others were just like probably match of the year candidates as well.
yeah. So
So yeah, lots to talk
overall,
about.
overall, the main card specifically, this is probably like an all time AEW show. And that sentiment seems to be very common. Um, every single match had something good in it. Every single match had something to talk about. There is like a couple of things that are a little nitpicky for me. It's mainly about the women, which we will talk about, and yeah, I just absolutely loved this show from top to bottom. The the pre-show was what it was, but we'll talk about those first. The first match on the pre-show was a 5 minute challenge. It was Divine Dominion taking on the team of Zeta Steel and Viva Van. Zeta Steel and Viva Van never teamed before this match. So it seems to be a common sentiment among fans that they don't know what to do with the tag division until the Brawling Birds are ready to take those titles at all in.
Yeah, I would say like this is all like I would expand on that and just say this is a common theme with when you're trying to book a women's tag division with tag gold for the women. It's like the only teams that are like available is the champions and then like one other team. And
Yeah.
it's like the one other team in this case, I would say, are the Brawling Birds, Alex Windsor and
Yeah.
JB Hayter. Because you're telling me if they just put these two together just now, it
Yes.
was kind of confusing.
Yes.
Um, I
The
mean, I know Zeta Steel is part of Christopher Daniels' group, but I really didn't understand where Viva Fan fits in. Like, no offense to Viva Van, I think she's like one of the first Vietnamese Americans to be a
yeah.
wrestler, but
Uh-huh.
I yeah, but there was like no tie in here.
Yeah, no, this was just, and this has kind of just been what Divine Dominion has been doing since winning the titles, since they haven't really set up a feud of any kind, is having these 5 minute eliminator challenges where if the other team survives the 5 minutes, they don't even have to win the match, they just have to survive the 5 minutes. They get a title shot. Um, and they've just been doing that against indie talent and jobber of the week talent.
Hmm.
These were the first contracted people I think they did this against. Um, but yeah, this match was what it was. The whole match was pretty much Zeta Steel trying to run around the ring to survive the 5 minutes. Um, they would once in a while get some offense in, but there was obviously no question who was winning this match, and Divine Dominion ended up winning after hitting a double choke slam with 14 seconds to go.
Yeah.
After the match, we got the reintroduction of Ty J, who have recently made their goal to challenge for these titles. Anna Jay, of course, just came back, had her return slash title match against um, Willow for the TBS title, which she lost, like everybody else who has returned and challenged Willow. Um, and we have not seen Ty Mello or Ty Guevara, whatever you want to call her, in a very long time. I think she's probably been on ROH. That's probably why we haven't seen her, because not a lot of people watch that show. So yeah, I mean they're basically they're calling themselves the first women's tag team of AEW, which is technically true.
Mm-hmm.
When they were in the inaugural tournament, they didn't even make it past the first round. But yeah, it's cool that you're establishing another challenge right now for Divine Dominion, I guess. I imagine what they're going to do is they're going to have the 5-minute challenge, which they are going to survive, not win the match, survive, then get a title shot, then lose. And they'll just keep doing that until they are ready to have the Brawling Birds actually get into the title picture, which also, it's like the Brawling Birds are undefeated as a tag team. They should just be challenging for the titles now, but they're doing everything in their power to prevent that so they can save it for All In. But like at this point, you have to do something to like justify why they're not getting title shots. Do like a triple threat where they don't get pinned. Something.
Right, because if you're trying to build these two up, what they're doing right now is nothing to do with them being a tag team. You threw Jamie Hayter into a fatal 4-way for the world title, so another belt, but you're telling me she just formed this tag team with Alex Windsor, and you're telling me that they're supposed to be a tag team, but then you just did this side quest basically of Jamie trying to regain the gold she previously had, so it was kind of confusing. Meanwhile, Alex Windsor, as far as I know, is still like the New Japan Strong Women's Champion or something. So she's got her own singles gold.
Yep.
But yeah, to your point, like do something like a triple threat where they don't get pinned. Maybe they challenge the Divine Dominion first, and then they come up short, and then they do a rebuild there, and then say we need to make sure we're ready for next time when we go to London. I don't know, but it's kind of like you're in a holding pattern until you're ready, but you're not building up the Brawling Birds as a team. So how the hell can they be ready by All In, other than cheerio, here's two of your favorite Brits from AEW. Mm-hmm. That's it. I don't know. It's kind of hollow to me.
Yeah. So I guess that's just what Divine Dominion's going to be doing for now. I mean, they could always establish more teams, I guess. There are other teams. It's just that, they're not really doing anything to make any other team seem formidable to face Divine Dominion. They're literally LOD while everybody else is jobbers. Like, the Brawling Birds are undefeated, so they are a great tag team. It's just that you, like you said, keep putting them in other things to prevent them from getting tag title shots right now. And it's just kind of ridiculous. All right. The next match on the buy-in show was the Death Riders, Claudio, Daniel Garcia, and Wheeler Yuta, taking on the Ops, Anthony Bowens, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. This match was fine. It was a lot of fun. It's, playing off of the Will Ospreay, Samoa Joe stuff that we're going to talk about. I thought this match was actually pretty good for what it was. Um, I was kind of expecting like the ops to look more strong here, but they just got beat. Uh, Anthony Bowens is now the fall guy of the ops. That's his role.
Mhm.
He's that's what he's doing.
I, I I I don't know what they're doing with Bowens. You know, they had him like he was so over when he and Castor were the Acclaimed,
Yep.
and then they kind of ran out of steam on that one, so they split them up. Uh, Bowens was away for I guess away for a while, and then he got repackaged as the 5-tool player.
Yep.
Tried that. Uh, that didn't work because it looked like they were trying to put him back with Castor as a team, and looks like that's not happening because now Anthony Bowens is with the ops.
Yeah, and Castor put out a tweet or an Instagram story or something where he said that his home is now in Beyond Wrestling. So people are kind of wondering what that means. He's still on the AEW roster page, but nobody knows anything about like his deal coming up or anything. But he did post that. Yeah, I mean, this is what Anthony Bowens is doing now, and he's just going to be taking pins for the ops. Hook has been gone for like 3 weeks. This was his first time back, and he lost. Shibata is kind of just there right now. The ops are kind of lost without Samoa Joe, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that is gonna. I am like, what? Anyway, I mentioned that the other day, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, and it seems like everybody else in the Death Riders are kind of just there also. It's right now it's Moxley and Osprey, and everybody else is kind of just doing stuff here and there. Claudio's in the Owen again. Surprise Pac is not in the Owen. He should be. I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to the Owen matches, but yeah, I thought this match was fine. And it at least made sense to do it. All right, the next match is a disaster.
Okay.
So
Yes.
this is going off of stuff that happened at Revolution, which we talked about previously with the Shane Taylor promotions and the Costco guys.
Big Boom AJ and Big Justice and the Rizzler.
Yeah.
Those people.
So this was a 10-man tag that was just randomly announced of Boom and Doom, which is Big Boom AJ and QT Marshall, teaming with Conglomeration members Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong for some reason. To take on all of Shane Taylor promotions. They came out with a mascot for Vita Coco.
Right, the coconut water.
Yes, because Vita Coco.
Because they're the sponsor.
Yes, Vita Coco was a sponsor for this show and this match specifically. And Big Boom AJ did a promo where he basically like Steve Austin some Vita Coco. And this mascot would later play a role in QT Marshall getting injured. Towards the finish of the match. But yeah, this match was, shenanigans like they always are with the Costco guys. They had Rizzler doing the same thing that he did with Shane Taylor Promotions, that girl whose name I always forget. And for some reason, Harley Cameron was here. I guess she's an honorary member of the conglomeration because she's Willow's friend.
Well, yeah, like you don't understand the conglomeration mindset, Mike. It's just really like whoever gets along with anybody. It's basically like a throuple times an orgy times and
yeah.
I guess a book club. You know, basically that's what this conglomeration is. This is
So she got into a fight with that other chick from ROH, whose name I can't remember.
Crystal XO, I think something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Kristen XO.
Kristen XO, that's what it says here. Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, there was just a lot of stuff going on here. At some point, somebody thought that Big Boom AJ got color, but it was really just Vita Coco all over him. And the finish was like a double power bomb thing. And QT Marshall was on the top rope, and I think he was going to add to that, but he fell out of the ring.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember that now. Yeah,
he fell out of the ring onto the floor, and apparently he got hurt and needed to be helped out. He said he was fine, but obviously Big Boom AJ's team won the match. I mean, as long as this isn't on the main show, it doesn't really bother me. It's just I just don't care about it. It means
because they did the tag team match at Revolution on the buy-in for that.
Yeah, between
the Infantry and Boom and Doom. Now they did Boom and Doom, all of Shane Taylor Promotions, plus Friends, and now what's next? A Blood and Guts match at Fight for the Fallen.
Big Boom AJ is undefeated. Is he getting a title shot? Like, what are we?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, by your logic, he should be like going for the at least for the ROH television title or something like that.
Yeah, something. But I would not like that to happen specifically. If he's just going to be on pre-show matches, I guess that's fine. It could always be worse. This could be on the main card where we see commercials during the matches. So, yeah, that was the buy-in. Also, well, let's talk about this. Mick Foley's in AEW now.
Oh, yes. Totally forgot and skimmed that over. Yes. Hardcore legend Mick Foley.
Mick Foley has signed with AEW to do specifically this, to be on pre-shows and sometimes commentary, which is awesome. There has been talk, because of the thing that happens at the end of the buy-in, which we will talk about right here. MJF interrupts Mick Foley when he is about to talk about his predictions for the main event. And he basically, makes fun of Mick Foley's appearance and kicks him in the dick. And then Darby Allin comes out and makes the save. And Mick Foley is very fond of Darby because he sees a lot of himself in Darby Allin, which makes a lot of sense based on his title run as a whole. There has been chatter that MJF has been trying for years to have a match with Mick Foley. Mick Foley has not wrestled a match of any kind since 2012.
Mick Foley is probably to this day dealing with the ramifications of his insane 1998 Hell in a Cell match.
Yes.
In terms of like concussions and post-traumatic brain injuries and whatever.
With all of that said, I can't say whether I would want Mick Foley to wrestle a match now at, I believe, 60 years old, after everything that he's been through. But do I believe that MJF could carry the shit out of a passable match with Mick Foley? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Well,
because
first of all, Mick Foley,
he don't have to bump. They can make it work where he doesn't have to bump.
what Mick Foley needs to do is take up Don Callis's offer and join the Don Callis family, because Don has said that he wants Mick Foley in the Don Callis family because he will basically clean him up and make him look the closest he can be to Kyle Fletcher. So if you could get Mick Foley to look like a passable Kyle Fletcher, Mick may have a shot when facing the world champion. Whoops.
But, that's just hearsay at this point. But it's really cool that Mick Foley is in AEW now, whether it's on an on-air role, whatever it is. But he has said that AEW has renewed his love for wrestling, which seems to happen a lot with people like him, legends who fell out of love with it. I mean, Sting, obviously, everything that Sting did in AEW was leaps and bounds what he did in WWE. I'm not saying that would happen for Mick Foley, but Mick Foley at least can feel happier in working for a company that he enjoys working for. So yeah, Mick Foley's in AEW now. That's cool. The main card, the first match on the card, is one of the better matches on the card, which is saying something, given the stipulation. It is a New York Street Fight I Quit match between FTR and Cope and Cage. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Christian Cage still sporting a cast on his arm and still wearing turtlenecks. So this match was great. About as great as a match that two 50-year-olds could have with the best tag team in the world. And obviously Stokely was there and he gets involved. There was tables, there was chairs, there was multiple tables. There was a lot. And it was a lot of fun. They did that thing that they've been doing in all of Cope and Christian's matches, where one of them just gets to rest for a while while the other one fights the other team by himself. This time it was Christian, and Copeland got to rest because he got put through an announce table and got to lay there for a while. You're muted.
A lot of interesting items interjected into this match. There's a toolbox that Dax took out.
Mm-hmm.
I think he tried to use a screwdriver, maybe, but the thing he actually tried to use was they took out the turnbuckle thing, and so the top turnbuckle, and took out that giant rod with the hooks on either ends in order to try to use it.
Yep.
Various tables, which is not a surprise there.
Though there was that one moment where Cope tried to do a dive onto a table, and he just kind of landed on his feet, and the table fell over.
Oh. Yeah.
We keep talking about why, like, Copeland needs to just not do dives. Just don't do dives of any kind. He's 52 years old. No.
Well, speaking of dives, Stokely being annoying during the match, when suddenly Beth Phoenix comes out, apparently having recovered from the pile driver she received back in the match at I want to say Revolution, Or was it even early? No. It was like way further back than
It's
that.
All Out.
All Out. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dating myself here. Yeah, she comes out looking like an absolute horrifying figure. Stokely goes up and attempts to defend himself or take the offense and completely fails. She gets bum rushed by Cash Wheeler and Dax. And then at that point, they, on one of the tables, Dax takes out lighter fluid and a lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And they light the table on fire, and it appears that they were trying to a callback to when he was called Edge, spearing of all people Mick Foley through into a flaming table.
Yep.
They tried to do that. Cash and
when they put the table in that specific spot, I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna do this. I had a feeling. I thought Cope was gonna do it to Dax, but that didn't happen at all. It ended up being Cash doing it to Stokely.
So yeah, it was like the plan apparently was to hold Beth down, Stokely hold Beth down while Cash does his spears, but he missed. Beth ducked out at the last second, so Cash ends up spearing Stokely through the flames, and they're both on fire for like less than a second. But based on that, they're both out, and so the match basically ends when you have like Dax Harwood left in there all alone by himself. Because he really, to be honest, throughout all this feud, he was the main instigator in all this stuff. I think he was the one who pile driver Beth on. Did that pile driver on Beth and.
So to set up the finish, Dax, as you said, Dax is alone in the ring, and he gets a low blow from Beth, then a low blow from Christian, and then they have him down on the mat. I think after Cope hit a spear, and Christian locks on a sharpshooter.
Yep.
And Cope goes to do a crossface.
Mm-hmm.
And while he is doing that, Beth pulls out the spike.
Yes, she flipped over the steel swing steps to reveal that they had been hiding that giant 2x4 with the spikes on it, which Cope calls Spike.
Yes.
Throws it in the ring, so Cope takes it while he's got the crossface on Harwood, and basically rakes the spikes over Harwood's bald head.
Yep.
And then at that point it was finally the I Quit from Dax coming out. Oh, sorry, to just draw back. This is an I Quit match, so you had the referee have a microphone so they could hear what if they give up or not. Yep. At one point, Christian was double teamed, and he was being asked to say whether he quits, and then Christian goes, "I banged your mother." Yep. Now that has become a catchphrase.
A chant.
A chant. Yes. But yeah, that was the finish. Pretty iconic finish to be honest. Being locked in two submission holds and having metal spikes.
We forgot to mention, like, the stipulation also was that if Cope and Christian had lost this match, they could no longer team ever again. Which, as soon as they put that on the match, you knew they were winning. But I figured they were going to win regardless because they had to get some kind of revenge on Dax and Cash. And obviously they're setting up something in the future for them. Maybe the Young Bucks also. I mean, the Young Bucks have already planted seeds about wanting to face Cope and Cage. Really no reason to do it without a belt. So
but first they're gonna have to get past two other guys apparently, but we can get into that later. One thing I want to point out, I actually think that the spikes on Spike were actually rubber, because if Cope actually even stuck it there's a way to gimmick that, but even if you were just gimmicking that, you would have seen like some blood on Dax's head.
Well, but
here's the thing.
John Moxley would have just did it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. My understanding is the New York State Athletic Commission didn't allow blood to be on their show. So I
Hmm.
think that's why Tony booked the matches to have no blood involved.
Yeah.
Because as far as I know, the only red substance was the Vita Coca from Big Boom AJ's match at the pre-show.
Yeah.
I don't recall anybody else bleeding during this
Yeah.
pay per view.
Uh, yeah. So Cope and Cage are once again tag team champions for the first time in 25 years, and they are both, I believe, 9-time tag team champions, like combined, like to get 8 times together, and then Edge won it. Edge won it with Rey Mysterio and Hulk Hogan on separate occasions, and
Mm,
Christian, I believe, won one with Jericho and Lance Storm.
okay.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, uh, probably two of the most decorated tag team champions of all time. Uh, and yeah, we'll see where this is gonna go. They had a celebration on Dynamite that was supposed to be like a 5 second pose throwback thing.
Yeah, including with like disposable cameras, like in
Yes,
the '90s.
yes. Well, because
Yeah.
they did the catchphrase of for the benefit of those with flash photography, and
Hmm.
Christian, of course, did not want to do it. Um, and he's like, do people even have flash photography anymore? And he's like, and Cope is like, funny you should ask because I prepared for this 20 years ago. Just pulls out a box of just a bunch of disposable cameras and starts handing them out to the front row. And this was actually hilarious. He was getting tired while he was doing it because he was doing it very quickly. And they go to do it, and they get attacked from behind by the dogs. And
Yeah.
this is significant because I just learned this on social media. Um, Edge once attacked Finley when he was 33 and Finley was 52.
This is Fit Finley, David
Yeah.
Finley's father,
Yes.
and now
And now
18. Yeah, I
David
saw that one too.
David Finley, who is now 33, attacked Copeland, who is 52.
Yes, 18 years later.
Yeah. So,
So the
um,
dogs did their own 5 second pose, which I actually thought was quite funny
that was
because
also
you had the two guys just laid out unconscious with the belts on them. David Finley's like, ah.
yeah, and so now we are building to Forbidden Door, which is taking place in, I believe, San Jose uh,
Mm-hmm.
in June, and
Yes.
um, I don't know if that's the match for the pay per view or they do that before. I imagine they do it before, and they do something else at the pay per view. I don't imagine Cope and Christian taking on like a CMLL or New Japan team, but uh,
Unless they do a triple threat and add in like another team.
yeah,
But do you want to save a triple threat situation for the big payoff that we described earlier?
yeah. So we'll
Hmm.
see what happens, but I imagine that the dogs of Clark Connors and David Finley versus Cope and Cage should be pretty good.
Mm.
Um, all right, the next match is the best match on the entire show
Mm.
by far, and it's in the talks for match of the year for me. Um, it is for the international title. Kazuchika Okada defending against Konosuke Takeshita. This match absolutely ruled. It felt like a Tokyo Dome main event. It felt like a G1 match. It felt like everything that you expect from an Okada, a big Okada match. And Takeshita's already a big star. He's going to be a big star for years to come. He's going to be the Japanese talent for years to come. And this match proved that, and then some. Uh, this kicks the hell out of their match that they had in the Continental Classic uh, semifinals. Uh, I love this match. And a lot of people are praising it as not only match of the night, but a match of the year, a classic, one of the best matches that Okada's had in the last couple of years. I mean, he already had a great one in Tanahashi's retirement match. That was this year also, and um, this match ruled. Your thoughts? Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at this thing and it was just like back and forth, hitting hard, and like there was no give whatsoever. It could have gone either way. Like you can tell that, yeah, like you mentioned, this had a feel of like a New Japan main event, and I feel it did kind of have that. I mean, this was a long time coming. Like these two guys have been nipping at each other for
Yeah.
months, right? They do in matches where they were tagging with each other. They're like fighting each other in the middle of the match. So like this was a long time coming. Um, I think the payoff was, I think the result was what should have happened. Takeshita going over. I guess what's more interesting is what happened after the match. Um, like I mean, I just remember like snippets of details, like you know, I don't, I think like Takeshita kicked out at one at some point in what
No, that was Okada. So
that was Okada. Sorry.
yeah, so Okada. So this is a one drawback that I have on the show is there's two matches that have like pretty much like the same exact finish. It's this and Samoa Joe and Will Ospreay. Um, so the finish of this match was Takeshita went for his running knee that he does, and Okada kicks out at one, and
Okay.
he goes to power back up, but then Takeshita hits the raging fire and
Hmm.
gets the pin. And yeah, so after the match, members of the Don Callis family start to enter the ring, and they're praising Takeshita for the match. And as they're doing that, Kyle Fletcher's music hits. Uh, there had been no talk of when he would be back. I know that he recently appeared backstage. Um, at least that's what was reported. But yeah, there was no because he had multiple injuries. He had a meniscus, an ACL, like at the same time, and yeah, he's back. And at first, he praises Takeshita and gives him the belt, hugs him like the best friends that they are supposed to be, the work husbands. Um, and then he attacks Takeshita and hits him with a lariat while he's raising his arm. And the friendship is over. They're no longer work husbands.
That lariat was, I would say, it looked very sudden. Like he didn't even wind up to like give himself space. It's just like he's raising us arms 1 minute, next minute he goes and stuff like that, and you're like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah, it was very stiff. That's why it looked like Takeshita was knocked out.
Yeah, and he did look like he was looking up at Kyle. I was like, "What, Kyle? Why, my brother?"
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then he looks at the international title, and then Okada is like, "What are you doing? I want that back." But we know Okada's going on to bigger and better things. He was supposed to challenge for the world title a couple of weeks ago, but he couldn't because of a family matter. So I imagine he's going to move up to the world title picture, and this is going to probably be your feud going into All In. Like I can imagine this lasting a while. Um,
Yeah, it's already started. Like Kyle came out on a Collision on Wednesday night. To give his side of the story, I guess. Um, for the life of me, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was like, oh yeah, I think it was like something about Takeshita making it all about himself. Yeah,
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 he
that's
basically
right.
put himself before the family, which
Yes, that's true.
which is odd because we all kind of expected Kyle to also be like on the outs with the family soon because he was saying like he wanted to go on to bigger and better things, and Don was like, "But the TNT title is your thing. You have to do that." Like,
Yeah, and well, the TNT title's gone now because of his injury, and now he's back.
yeah, but he
Yeah,
also looked at it when he ran into um,
Kevin Knight.
Kevin Knight.
I think that's a tease. I mean, there might be because Kevin. We'll talk about Kevin Knight later in the show,
Of
but
course.
it's a bit of a tease. We don't exactly know because like you said, he's going to be focused on Takeshita for a while. He might challenge for the international title. Um, but here's a nice little twist. So after Kyle's promo, Takeshita comes out by himself, and Kyle's in there with like Rocky and Lance Archer and yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got the numbers, and then for a very confusing reason, but I guess not because everybody's conglomerating. The conglomeration comes out to back up Takeshita. Orange Cassidy is looking at Takeshita like, mm-hmm. And so now it's like a 5-on-3 situation, and Kyle, like the snake he is, slithers out of the ring. So now Takeshita has new friends.
Oh, and since you mentioned Orange Cassidy, I have to mention this. Orange Cassidy has a new shirt.
Yes.
Where it's his face sideways.
Yes, but it works because when you put your sunglasses onto your collar, she's wearing them.
Yes, so he's now carrying 2 sets of sunglasses for the shirt to wear and for himself to wear. Which is it's so dumb, but it's hilarious.
What's interesting is I noticed that somebody said that Takeshita, by joining like or at least conglomerating with the conglomeration, is now like part of a babyface faction in AEW. Meanwhile, in New Japan, he's like in a sort of a good guy faction with some other group, but I don't know exactly who.
Yeah, I think he's just affiliated.
It's an affiliation, right?
Yeah,
but at least he's not by himself, which like I would think like.
I mean, I was kind of hoping for that. I don't want him to be in any more groups for a while. I was kind of hoping for him to be on his own. So I think the conglomeration thing is just for now.
Yeah, it might be because this like I think eventually this is just going to spin off into like a Kyle versus him in various forms, like they're in a tag match or in some 6-man match or whatever.
So,
but we'll have to see.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens going forward. The next match on the card of the pay-per-view was the first women's Owen Hart Cup match. So I guess we will. I mean, the reason this match is happening on this show is because Willow was supposed to have her first round match against Alex Windsor on this show. Not defending the TBS title, by the way, just having a tournament match. Because we needed to have other singles champions in the tournaments. And unfortunately, Willow is injured, and she had to relinquish the TBS title. So when that was announced, they announced that this match would be on the pay-per-view instead. Because I don't know if they know exactly who Alex Winter was going to face before that was announced. um, so we'll talk about that after we talk about this match. But it's the opening round match. It's Athena, the forever ROH Women's Champion, who is still the ROH Women's Champion and has been ROH Women's Champion longer than Roman Reigns was WWE Champion at this point. Taking on Mina Shirakawa. And this match was very good. For that reason, like, this is the worst match on the card, and it's not even a bad match. It's a very good match because Athena and Mina seem to work very well together. They have good in-ring chemistry. Athena changed her theme song, which I hate. Her old theme song was so much better.
Yeah.
And Mina looks great. Always, like, she has great in-ring ability. Like, she's a very good technical wrestler. She just hides it very well with her theatrics. She's very flamboyant. She's very outward about her personality. But when she gets in the ring and has matches like this, she's great. But yeah, Athena would end up getting the win after hitting the Eclipse, or what does she call it now? The O-Face. And Athena, the ROH Women's Champion, who is not defending her belt, is on to the second round of the Owen Hart Cup. She will face who is she facing? The winner?
The winner of the Sky Blue and Sari match. So Sari,
yeah,
she was a freelancer, international star.
Yeah, so she will most likely be facing Sari.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be great.
Yeah. And the other brackets, Persephone from CMLL/AEW is facing Hazuki from Stardom.
Yep.
And I guess I don't know who Alex Finzer is facing, to be honest. I mean,
no,
it's fake to be
yeah.
Does anybody know? I mean, I'm just guessing.
Tony knows by now because he announced the match is happening next Wednesday.
I
mean, the speculation the speculation has been that it has to be a return of some kind. You can't just announce that there's going to be a surprise entrant and then have her opponent be Anna Jay. You know,
no,
it's going to be like. I mean, obviously, people are speculating multiple names. Mercedes is, of course, at the top of the list, which is if Mercedes is in the tournament, she's probably winning it again. Of course, there's been other names that have been thrown around. We haven't seen Ruby Soho in a really long time since she had her baby.
Mm-hmm.
Dakota is being thrown around. Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, DMD is always going to be mentioned when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we haven't seen her in 2 years.
I mean, Dynamite's taking place next week, and I'm not exactly sure where, but sometimes it depends on the location. But I can't remember like next week where it's taking place. So
yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be Pittsburgh if she's coming back. She just can come back.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just trying to figure out, like, based on where Dynamite's taking place next week, does that give you a clue, like where who would the wild card be, if anything? Let's see. Next week,
Dynamite is in. Let's see.
Richmond, Virginia.
Yes. Well.
Yeah, so Richmond, Virginia.
Somebody I saw on a podcast speculated that Mickie James was an option because of that alone. But I don't imagine that's going to happen.
No, I don't think so.
So yeah, I mean, it has to. Unfortunately, it cannot be somebody that is around right now. Like sorry, Queen Aminata, it can't be you. It can't. It has to be
Yeah,
somebody.
and by the way, speaking, you mentioned Willow's out because so this coming Saturday Collision, they're gonna decide on what to do with the now vacated TBS Championship,
Yep.
and some of the people you mentioned could be in line to be in contention for that belt. So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll just do a whole battle royal and then just have the final two face off in a one-on-one match to determine a new champion.
Yeah. I hope that whoever wins is not in the tournament because whoever wins, like Sky Blue, like if Sky Blue won the belt, I'd be happy for her. But then knowing that she's going to lose to Suri would just be ridiculous. So,
Yeah.
because then you're gonna owe Suri a title shot, like that nobody really wants. um. So yeah, I hope that like Queen Aminata is a good choice, honestly, if they do something like that, because she's done a lot. She's proved herself in the ring. So we'll see what happens. I imagine it'll be some kind of gauntlet or battle royal, like you said. So we will see. The next match on the Double or Nothing card was a no time limit Continental Championship match between John Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly. Of course, this match goes back to a couple of months ago when Kyle had multiple submission victories over John Moxley. Kyle O'Reilly was the roadblock that John Moxley could not get over. To that point, Kyle then got injured and disappeared for a while. Of course, returned at Dynasty in Vancouver,
Mhm.
won the Trios title. So, Trios champion, challenging for a singles title again. um, but this match also very, very good. I love this match as well. Um, and the result was never in question because they made it a point to say that John Moxley can't get over the hump of beating Kyle O'Reilly. You knew that he was going to do it eventually, and it was going to be here. And yeah, I mean, I thought this match was a lot of fun. It's my kind of wrestling. Very technical, very back and forth, hard hitting, trading of submissions, and yeah, John Moxley finally defeated Kyle O'Reilly. He can put Kyle O'Reilly behind him, and now Kyle O'Reilly can focus on defending the belt he already has. Isn't that great? And yeah, what were your overall thoughts of this match?
I would say if this was a match I wanted to show, if there was like someone who's never watched wrestling before, this would be a match I would show someone to show like, yeah, look, this is actually wrestling because they were wrestling.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I thought, wow, these two guys are literally doing an almost MMA style fight in a sense because it's just so like gritty and it was just like no nonsense. It was really just about Moxley just trying to get this monkey off his back, and I mean he did it. And they shook hands afterwards, which I thought was pretty classy of them. So, Moxley and the Death Riders, they still got this sort of a heel streak of them, but they're starting to like, I guess, turn that around a little bit. Not that they I mean needed to. It just kind of organically happens. But you kind of do these little things, snippets of like civility in a sense, for lack of a better word, to show that this is about the honor and integrity and that sort of thing, which is fine. I,
Yeah,
I guess I'm just glad the Moxley or Kyle are not in the Owen Hart tournament because I've obviously they're both champions already, and I didn't need to see like them again in another tournament. You want to
right.
save guys like Moxley and Kyle for like the Continental Classic, not the Owen Hart Cup.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I love this match. There was a point where they both had they had like ankle locks on each other at the same
Oh
time.
yes, that was good. That was good.
I love that spot. That was so cool. But yeah, and as you said, after the match, he showed respect to Kyle, and yeah, love this match. The next match is a first time ever match between Will Ospreay and Samoa Joe in the Owen Hart Cup match. And they actually built this up pretty well with storytelling where Ospreay is basically in the Death Riders now. They are helping him to get his neck right and to be in better shape for the world title picture and his life as a whole. John Moxley offered to help him, and Ospreay took him up on the offer. Samoa Joe wanted to extend that to him as well to join the Ops and do something very similar, and Will Ospreay ignored him.
Mm.
And Samoa Joe did not find that very respectful of Will Ospreay. So then they set up this match in the tournaments, and so I like that they actually had some background to why the match was happening at all, even if it was in the tournament itself. Um, and to nobody's surprise, this match also ruled. This is probably my second or third favorite match on the show, behind the international title match. Um, Absolutely loved it. Samoa Joe and Will Ospreay, after never having a match together, had great chemistry in the ring. They complement each other's styles. Um, where obviously Will Ospreay is very, uh, air based, but he's become more of a submission guy lately because of his training with.
There was a spot they did, Joe and Will did, that was very reminiscent of something that Joe and AJ Styles did.
Yes.
And I think it was almost exactly the same spot. There was like the running the ropes, ducking, and then Will hitting a drop kick.
Duck down that was specifically a trip. And
oh yes, he tripped him. Yeah.
so, and this has been a kind of a thing that that's happened on social media where people were. I don't remember what match it was, but somebody went to do a drop down. I don't know if it was in AEW or WWE, but there was a match recently where somebody went to do a drop down, and the person who was running over the drop down actually tripped. And some people didn't understand that the point of a drop down is to trip your opponent. It is not a botch when somebody trips over a drop down. It's supposed to do that. It just so happens that people have been, um, it's been put into people's minds that you're supposed to jump over a drop down to avoid tripping. And that is just what you're supposed to do. But when they do that drop down and Samoa Joe actually trips, that's the point of a drop down. That's why it works. And the same thing happened with that AJ Styles clip that they basically emulated. And I love that little detail. And yeah, there was I love absolutely. So Samoa Joe always finding new ways to do the walk away spot.
I was just about to
And
mention that.
This time he did it off of an Oscutter attempt, which I absolutely amazing. One of my favorite moments of the entire match. There was one point where they were on the outside. Well, Joe was on the outside, and Ospreay went to do the Sasuke special, and Samoa Joe got made up some ground and turned that into a Kikina clutch, and had the Kikina clutch on outside the ring.
Mm.
Basically, only doing that to wear down Will Ospreay. Obviously, you can't win the match that way, but I liked that also. It was more technically, sound of him to do something like that, to wear down Will Ospreay, to keep him from doing more high flying things. But yeah, as I mentioned when we were talking about, well, there was a couple of things in this match. They traded some strikes. Joe did the multiple slaps elbow combo that he does. Ospreay did a Styles Clash during the match, which looked great. And the finish of the match, as I mentioned, very similar to the finish of Okada and Takeshita, where Ospreay hits a running hidden blade to the front of Samoa Joe, and Joe kicks out at one. And then he follows it up with another hidden blade to the back of the head, and then wins. I would have liked if they didn't do that spot in two matches. I mean, I get it's two different. I mean, when Takeshita did it, he did two different moves. So it's just the fact that they did the exact same finish with different setup. I would prefer if they didn't do that. But it's not going to hinder my love for either match. I mean, they're two of the best matches on the entire show. It's just, and yeah, Will Ospreay is moving on to round two, where he will take on Mark Davis, which I guess we will talk about that here. The opening round match for him, which took place on Dynamite that followed this show, was against Jack Perry. And that match kicked the shit out of the match they had for the national title. Like, it was an absolute banger of a match. And Mark Davis has absolutely been killing it as a singles since winning that belt. He had that countout win with Will Ospreay, which is a good setup for this rematch.
Was it a counter or was it doctor stoppage?
I believe it was.
I remember it was like the doctor came in and then Will said, "No, I want to continue." The doctor says, "No, you can't," and they had to stop it. I feel that's what happened.
Why do I feel like it was a count out, like it was happening outside the ring or something? I know it wasn't
because that's when Will dropped outside the ring and he couldn't get back in, and then the doctors had to look at him. So that's why this semifinals makes more sense, because I was thinking, yeah, Mark's got to win here, even though Jack is looking like he just won't die, because Will needs to get back his win after losing one of his former best friends. Yeah. Because the doctor said he couldn't continue. And that was before, that match happened before Will linked up with the Death Riders so he get his neck fixed.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And it's also let's talk about this here. I absolutely love the storytelling that they're doing with Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay here. Moxley is basically playing the role of the grizzled mentor and trying to help Will Ospreay to realize that there's more than what he currently does as a wrestler that will make him last longer as a wrestler. He doesn't have to do the Oscutter in every match. He doesn't have to do it like 5 times. He can do other things. That's why he started doing an armbar, because he's starting to understand that he can have more of a ground-based offense and still be effective. And Mox is making him realize that. And I love that. I love that this is the role that John Moxley is in right now. This is the most interesting the Death Riders have been uh, because of this story.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Will Ospreay and Moxley, they had that they finally had their match. You'd think that Will would have gotten over. That's the normal way this kind of storylines develop, but no, he didn't. And and then they just did a thing where he just he's kind of breaking down again.
Yeah.
But then it's like weirdly, the Death Riders kidnap him, and then Moxley, instead of trying to kill him again, he's just like, "I'm gonna help you."
Well, and we talked about this when he first came back, and how like AEW has like a habit of over exaggerating the effect of long-term injuries, and how like when Kenny Omega faced MJF, they did that whole thing where at any point your abdomen could explode.
Yeah,
That's not true. That's just a thing to make it sound dramatic.
If diverticulitis really resulted in that happening to you, like you would not wrestle again. Like you would just stay away.
Exactly.
Like let's look at that example. Brock Lesnar. He had diverticulitis. Why the hell would he come back and spend like the last 10 years like suplexing people?
15 years since that happened.
I think.
Yeah.
20? Maybe it was 20. I can't remember.
I believe it was 2011. I could be wrong, but
right. And then like he comes back a few years after, and it's like yeah.
So that's why I like another minor detail that if you're not really paying attention and you didn't notice, when he first came back, he was putting the tape on his back and his neck for all of his matches. Since he's been with the Death Riders, no tape.
Yep.
That I love that, because it drives home the fact that they can't do this anymore. They can't say like, oh, he had a neck injury, so his neck is fucked up forever. I mean, ask Adam Copeland about that. The guy's wrestling at 52. Like, so I like that. Like the added stuff that they're doing, little minor details that if you don't pay attention and you don't notice, like, oh, he's not wearing the tape anymore. Maybe what Moxley is doing to help him get to where he needs to be is actually working. And to even add to that, on Dynamite, they show a video of Kenny Omega meeting Will Ospreay in the back at the doctor's table. And Kenny Omega is like, are you sure this is the right move for you? Why didn't you come to me first? I could have helped you. I could have helped you get to this point. I could have did this for you. I don't know why, after everything that those guys have done, you would pick them. And John Moxley just
hovering in the back and like
awkwardly walked in, but as like a guru, just walking in the background, like, oh, what do we have here? Like, and he passes Will Ospreay an ice pack, and he's just like, hey, we're getting ready to go. and
yeah, it's not like the bad guy coming in and like giving his like retort. It's just like, we got stuff to do, let's go. So it's almost like you're grown up enough to make your own decisions. I'm here, Kenny's over there. And someone compared it to like how, when you got the angel and the devil on one shoulder, the devil on the other shoulder, like this is literally the angel on one shoulder.
But who's the devil?
I don't know. But it's so interesting that like there's all these people that have different approaches to this. Like Samoa Joe said he was willing to help him out. Ospreay just ignores him. Joe then gets mad. They have a match. Kenny was like, well, he didn't ask Kenny either, but then Kenny was more like, hey man, how you doing? You sure about this? I can help you too. Like, get to that point, but just watch yourself, okay? I'm here for you still.
And of course, Ospreay had that little dig at the end which I think further sets up some stuff that we've talked about in the past, where he said, uh, "Good luck trying to get that belt back," or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
Uh,
like, here we go, another Kenny
Interestingly,
Omega.
just announced a July pay per view that is taking
Yeah,
where?
Montreal, Canada. Yay! In July, so it won't be ice cold and snowing.
Yeah. So I think that we'll talk about this more when we get to the main event, but I have some thoughts. And
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, well, just one more thing to close off. Samoa Joe. Um,
he's going away.
After this match, yes,
Yeah.
he had another backstage segment with the ops and says, "Boys, I have to go shoot another movie, so you guys are in charge now." And so he's left the ops with Hook in charge, I guess, and Shibata and Bowens. I just thought that whole thing was very strange. He's just like, "Yeah, hey guys, I gotta shoot another movie. I gotta be, Hollywood and like go." So it's just like, what?
The main problem is that he put Hook in charge while he was injured, and Hook did nothing except recruit Anthony Bowens, and then Hook disappears. And then Samoa Joe comes back, has one or two matches, and now he's going away again.
Yeah.
So
talk about like this group being very directionless right now.
I don't think they know what to do with the ops right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to continue. All right. So let's get into the next match on the pay per view. And this is the other match that I absolutely love on this card. It's the other men's Owen Hart Cup match on the show. It is Swerve Strickland taking on the ROH World Champion in a non-title match in the Owen Hart Cup. Bandito. I believe when Swerve put out a video calling out Bandito, you asked me, "Oh, is Swerve going to challenge for the ROH title now?" And my response was, "Ask Andrade about that."
Okay.
Because that clearly was never going to happen. They were just going to have this match. And this match absolutely ruled, as I expected it would. You got two of the best wrestlers in the world. Bandito easily, I mean, if you saw my year-end awards, he was in my top 5 wrestlers of the year. He had some of the best matches last year out of anybody on the roster. And he had one of those here with Swerve. This match was amazing. And it's not surprising because both of these guys rule. And I think it's time for Bandito to put the ROH title behind him. He kind of needs to lose that thing because if he's not going to defend it all the time, why does he have it?
Yeah, like Super Card of Honor just concluded. I didn't even know Blake Christian was chasing that thing for like a year.
Well, because nobody watches ROH. That's the problem. So, yeah, I mean, he still has that thing, and he's not doing anything with it. If you're going to have the ROH champions on AEW, they should be defending the title whenever they are around. Like, he was the tag team champions with Brody while he was the ROH champion. And he focused more on the tag titles than he did on the ROH world title. It's like, why does he need to be the ROH world champion? Just get him away from there. Let him do this. Let him do other things. And
yeah, they need people who are the top champions that are exclusively ROH at this point. Because if you're going to put it on like the platform that you say nobody watches, at least for those people that watch, they'll at least see the world champion there every week because that person is pretty much an exclusively ROH person. You know, don't put it on Chris Jericho. Don't put it on Swerve. Don't put it on Bandito. Don't put it on Brody King. They're all AEW guys that we see every week on AEW TV mainly.
Roosh is challenging for the AEW title. Get him off ROH.
Yeah, I feel like they don't have anyone in the ROH that could be the anchor right now, so they have to keep relying on people that ROH before Tony Khan bought it used before. Bandito, Roosh,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Jericho was an exception. So was Claudio. That was a bit new, but
yeah. Well, Claudio was like a full circle thing. He never had the ROH title. That needed to happen. It's just
right.
Like focus on it. Do something with it. Make it matter. One of my favorite spots in this match was when Swerve got thrown up into the air and he landed on Bandito's shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
And did like a house call from up there.
Yeah. And then Swerve later posted a picture of a scene in Dragon Ball Z where I think it was Goku standing on like Nappa's head.
Nappa's head, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of great moments in this match, but that was probably one of my favorites. Bandito seems to have seemed to evolve the 21 plex into the point where he just does it to his opponent while they're on the ground. Now, I don't really love that move just because whenever like that and like the lethal injection, like that cartwheel thing doesn't add anything to the move. It's just theatrics. That's what I don't love that stuff. But it's still a very cool looking move. There was a reverse Frankensteiner on the apron to the outside. Swerve hit the vertebraker again and followed that up with the house call and got the victory. So Swerve will be facing Brody King, where Brody King had his first round match on the following Dynamite against Claudio. So we're getting another rematch in the semifinals. Of course, this coming off of their match that they had at Revolution, I believe it was. And yeah, that should be a fun rematch that I expect Swerve to win. I fully expect the finals to be Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland. I believe Will Ospreay did like an interview, or I don't know if this was a promo video or something. He did it might have been a podcast interview where he said that him and Swerve aren't talking right now.
Oh.
Probably just to further storyline stuff. But
well, yeah. Well, the way the semifinal brackets break out, it looks like it's pretty clear it's going to be Will and Swerve in the finals.
Yep.
You know, and we mentioned earlier, Will's got to go over on Mark, and
yep.
You know, Swerve is on this thing where he's beating the former tag team champion. So, sure.
Yeah. And this also is just like, why are there only 8 guys in this tournament and 8 women? Like, you have enough people on the roster to expand this to 16 people. Like, make this more important by having more people in it. Give more people something to do. Get more people on the show. By only having 8 guys in the tournament and 8 women in the tournament, it's like you're kind of just rushing through it.
Yeah, see, the first Owen Hart Cup in 2022, they had at least 14 people in the qualifiers. They did qualifiers first, instead of just quarterfinals. So they basically as this tournament went on over the years, so basically as the only time they ever had qualifiers was the first one. and then subsequently they've always had 8 people.
Yeah.
They've always just started with the quarterfinals.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
think
if it's time. I don't know if it's time constraints or what.
they really should expand that to 16. I fully believe that. Like I said, get more people on the show. Get people on the show that aren't on the show that frequently, whether it's on Collision or Dynamite. Um, yeah, I just think it makes more sense to have more people in these, but because Forbidden Door is not until the 28th of June, like, and you're gonna
Yeah,
like the finals is gonna be set up probably before the second week of June. So you're gonna have a lot of time to build that, I guess. But and
yeah. The finals will be set up by next Wednesday for the men's, and as for the women's, we're not sure yet.
no, we don't know when Sari is going to wrestle,
Yeah.
because she is currently injured.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
she said that she's taking some time off to heal, but she's not.
Oh.
She is going to be in the tournament still.
Huh.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Didn't know that.
yes. So we'll see. Um, but yeah, I fully, as I mentioned, fully expect Will Ospreay to face Swerve in the finals. All right, the next match, and this is kind of like the definition of like what's wrong with the women's division right now. Because you have Tekla as the champion, and she's killing it in every aspect of everything that she's doing in the ring. Character, she's going to be a babyface at some point because she's over, and she's really over. And this match was kind of just set up randomly out of nowhere. They needed a women's title match on the pay per view, so they were just like, "Hey, let's get the last two people that you already beat and Hikaru Shida and have a fatal four way." And that was it. They didn't do anything else really to set up this match. She's already beaten Chris 3 times. Why was Chris in this match? She's already beaten Jamie Hayter. Why was she in this match? And Hikaru Shida has done nothing to earn an opportunity at the title. She's just lost tag matches.
Yeah, with Chris Statlander, and that story was probably more like overshadowing this 4-way title match than anything. Like, what is this going on? What is going on with Shida and Chris Statlander? Now we got a bit of a payoff on that this past Wednesday on Dynamite when they had a lights out, no holds barred match. But this only happened because at this pay per view, Shida apparently turned on Chris and hit her with a kendo stick while she was going for a cover.
Yeah. And I'm not saying this is definitely not a bad match. Like I said, it's a very good match. Every match on this show is very good. It's just that there is a continuous issue with how the women are booked in AEW. Dynamite was 3 hours this week, and there was only one women's match that was longer than a minute. And it was that match. The other match was a squash. It was Anna Jay and Ty Mello taking on Allie Ketch and some other chick. And this just is a continuous issue. Like, there was no story going. This is your second biggest show of the year. You should have some kind of story built around your women's title, no matter what is going on. There was no story here. This was just Tekla needed a title match, and you didn't build anybody. So here are the people she already beat. So I don't know what's going on. Is she just gonna? I mean, obviously, we're going to Double or Nothing. She's probably going to be facing some Stardom people.
You mean Forbidden Door?
Sorry, Forbidden Door. I said Double or Nothing.
Yep. Yeah.
Forbidden Door. She's probably going to be facing some Stardom people, maybe some people from CMLL. Maybe it'll be another 4-way with one participant from each company. Um,
Maybe it'll be Utami Hayashishida.
oh yeah, Utami Hashishida is back in Stardom. She is the first person to leave Stardom to go to Marigold to go back to Stardom.
Yes, aka the Andrade system.
Yes. So maybe it will be her. I mean, she's going after Saya Kamatani, who is no longer the World of Stardom champion. She lost it recently, and they have history, both being in Stardom years ago. Uh, but who knows? I mean, it could be anybody at this point, but they have to do something to make this title mean something. Tony Storm is gone. We don't know when she's coming back. Mercedes right now is gone. I mean, we presume she'll be back soon. Um, you gotta have some formidable opponents for your champion. You have to build up some new star baby faces because Stat and Jamie are done. They had their shots. They're done. Um, who else is there? Willow's and now Willow's hurt, and we don't know when she's getting back. So I mean, you got to do something, and you have to put
Yeah,
the same care into the
yeah,
women's division that you put into the men's division. If you're having a 3-hour show on television, there should not be two matches, and only one of them is more than 5 minutes long.
yeah. I mean, it's a crisis of convenience and opportunity. Tony, you mentioned like the top three within the last 5 years. Tony Storm, Mercedes, and Willow are out either because of injuries or whatever reasons. And Mercedes is she's not injured, but we don't know when she's coming back. So you got to fill the hole with something. You've already done a run with Statlander. Um, you got Tekla. She's very good, right? She's got like charisma and she can carry certain feuds, but you just can't like throw random women into a thing and then just expect like it to look credible. So are there people in the back burner? I don't know. They've got a lot of people on reserve, like we mentioned, right? There's a who the heck would be coming in as a wild card in that tournament? Um, yeah, they gotta figure out something. I don't know.
Nyla Rose is also out there. She hasn't appeared in AEW in 2 years.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean Thunder Rosa's there.
yep.
Deanna Perrazzo, as far as I know, still works for them.
She's on ROH. She's pure women's champion.
Yeah, I mean the only credible person at this point is Athena, but as I said, as you just said,
tournament,
she's ROH champion,
but in the tournament,
and in the tournament.
yeah, she has to lose that thing. So I, as of right now, have no idea who could possibly win the women's tournament. But my favorite is Athena. If Athena is to win this tournament, she must lose the ROH women's title before All In. Must. It is a must. It is a like. It's time for her to move on from ROH. She's been there for too long.
Yeah, it's like what are you expecting, man? Like you made her a huge star, and you're just gonna keep her on a streaming service? Like what the fuck's wrong with you, Tony?
Yeah. But yeah, I have no idea who's going to win this tournament. I mean, if, like I said, if Mercedes is the wild card, I think she's going to win again, be the first back-to-back winner. And I don't know if Tekla is the champion when she challenges for the title, but I don't know who it would be. I mean, now that Willow's out. And is Tekla versus Mercedes the match that you want at your biggest show of the year? I don't know. I know Athena versus Tekla is not the match that I would put on the biggest show of the year. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Tekla is still the women's champion as expected. and we'll see what's next for her. All right, the next match on the card. uh, the next match on the card.
So we've had all these like high octane bouts. Now we need something to settle us down, but not really. I mean, it's I don't even know how to describe what we watched here. Half an hour of just absolute chaos.
Yes. So the main reason that this match is happening is because Jericho lost to Ricochet multiple times. That is the main reason that this match is happening. And no other reason. Of course, I am talking about the Stadium Stampede match, which saw the team of Chris Jericho, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Jack Perry, and the Hurt Syndicate taking on the team of Ricochet and the Demand, Mark Davis,
Andrade from the Don Callis family.
Yeah.
And then the dogs that we mentioned earlier, Clark Connors and David Finlay.
The aforementioned dogs. And as you would expect, this match was all over the place. I mean, all right.
So just to go back to like how this match developed. Yes, it started because Ricochet beat Jericho, and then he just kept beating down Jericho, and they're telling him, Jericho, you got no friends here. And then Jericho says, I don't need friends. I just need people that don't like you. And starts off with the Hurt Syndicate because of the past history. And I guess the Elite, because, you know, Ricochet is a jerk and the Elite are good guys. And so
Jack Perry.
Oh, right, the national title picture. Yes.
Yes. Ricochet cost Jack Perry the national title against Mark Davis. So in return, he said, all right, fine. Originally, this match was going to be 5-on-5, but Jack Perry took it upon himself to make it 7-on-7 by inviting all of the Elite members. Stadium Stampede and Anarchy in the Arena are the exact same thing.
Yes.
The only difference is Anarchy in the Arena has music at the beginning. That is literally the only difference.
So what I was confused about was when they called the Stadium Stampede, I kind of had flashbacks to the first Stadium Stampede when they started in a football field. I was expecting something like that. But that didn't happen. This looked actually more like an Anarchy in the Arena than a Stadium Stampede. Yeah. I mean, the first interesting thing was they had like their own music video for the entrance.
Reservoir Dogs.
Yes, the So the bad guys basically had a sort of an entrance, and then the baby faces did basically the Reservoir Dogs entrance, which you said you didn't like.
Well, I hated that they wrestled in suits. I hated it. Especially
I was confused about that too. I was like, are they wrestling like that?
Especially Jericho, whose suit was sparkling. Ricochet and the Demand wore baseball uniforms in a tennis arena. I get that Louis Armstrong is right next to Citi Field, but they're not in Citi Field. They're in Louis Armstrong. It's a tennis arena, not a baseball arena.
So the tennis theme came up numerous times.
Yes.
During this melee, but
so there was a lot going on here. Some notable moments was there was an abdominal stretch that Toa Leona had on Kenny Omega of all people because his stomach's gonna explode. And every single member of the Demand was holding arms to put more pressure on the stretch. And then MVP goes on the apron and hits Ricochet in the arm, and then all the people that are holding each other fell down. And
Yeah, that was funny.
then at some point, all of like everybody is just out on the floor, and this 50-year-old man, Shelton Benjamin, in a suit, does a freaking plancha over the top rope without even touching the ropes.
You know what I liked about this was, you remember when Shelton's in his final years at WWE kept doing this thing where he had this really strange look in backstage, like he's staring off to the side. He kind of did a little bit of that in during the spot. He was like staring at the crowd, and then he's like, "Oh, the reason he's staring at the crowd was he wanted to jump over the ropes." So I'm like, at least he finally closed that chapter on that weird little thing that like he was known for.
Yeah.
But then yeah, they did a lot of crazy stuff, and then the match started spilling outside in the backstage, where we got a slew of guest appearances that we didn't really ask for, but somehow fit in the end.
Yes. Not to mention before even that, Jack Perry once again, for some reason, brings in a vacuum and just hits. I believe it was who did he hit with it? Oh, it was Mark Davis. He hit Mark Davis in the face with the vacuum, and they did the whole spot again. The same spot that they did on Dynamite that one time, where the dust flies everywhere, and they ended up backstage, and Bobby Lashley is fighting Toa Leona in a hallway, just a random hallway. And while Bobby Lashley is laying on the ground, he looks over and he just sees Leo Rush doing his Black Heart Golem thing. And he's just mumbling to himself. And then Toa Leona is going to go after him. And he just bites Toa Leona on the hand. And then jumps on his back and chokes him. And then Toa Leona just disappears after that.
Yeah. So another spot was Andrade. He's like, I don't know who he was fighting, but then he goes to the ringside and does this usual spot where he finds attractive, beautiful women to take selfies with. He found two lucky women this time. So he tries to take the selfie with them. And then like this third blonde shows up. And it's not actually a woman or beautiful or a blonde, but it's Luchasaurus in a blonde wig.
Yes.
And then Andrade notices, and then the dinosaur guy is staring at him the longest time. And then like Andrade is obviously repulsed. And then suddenly Kenny Omega grabs Andrade from behind and holds him still. And then I guess shoves him back into Luchasaurus. And then Andrade is like, what? And then Luchasaurus proceeds to do the great Muda miss and spits in his face.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was actually the miss or he just spat in his face. But then Andrade.
Yeah, and then in the
they
ring,
caught him in the face with miss. Yeah.
Jericho did his thing where he brings out a bag of something very random. And this time it was a bag of tennis balls.
Yes.
And
as you mentioned, this was a tennis arena.
Yeah. So he just gives Ricochet a suplex onto a bunch of tennis balls.
Yeah.
I don't think hurts as much as like Legos or thumbtacks, but I could.
Right.
I've never been suplexed onto tennis balls, so I can't gauge how much that actually hurts.
So other rando guest appearances was Jack and Mark Davis started brawling back in the catering area when they ran into GCW sensation Mr. Invincible.
Ugh.
Or Tommy Invincible.
Ugh.
And then he slaps Mark Davis in the chest. It's like, and then he just does his line, something about him being invincible and can't be stopped. And then Mark Davis basically just like slaps him in the face and he knocks him out completely.
And then Andrade ends up in catering.
Yes.
And
which is
while he's in there, he bumps into a very large man at a table that large man ends up being Satnam Singh. And instead of going after Andrade, he just yells, "Food fight." And Andrade throws some random person into Satnam Singh. And there's a food fight happening in the background for no reason at all. And that was what happened right before. That was right after the Tommy Invincible thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
literally right after. Jericho and Ricochet end up backstage, and there is a tennis ball machine that Jericho uses on
Yeah, yeah. But before that, Jericho goes to open one of the doors, and out comes Luther, as in his butler form,
Yes.
and Luther hands Jericho a giant tennis racket that
Yes.
is basically to twice the size of Jericho himself.
Yes.
And someone, and I think Excalibur said, I think that's Satnam Singh's tennis racket, and
Yeah.
he might not be wrong.
Yeah.
And then the part with the tennis machine, ball machine, commenced,
Yes.
where Ricochet was pilfered with balls from the machine and by Jericho. And then Jericho basically threw Ricochet into the, I guess, the gate very hard, I would say, because that was it looked like he hit his head very hard.
Yep.
And then Jericho went for a cover, and Rico kicked out at 2.
Yep. So back in the ring, Shelton Benjamin and Matt Jackson are just beating up the dogs, and I believe it was David Finlay who got hit in the face with a trash can by Matt Jackson and then German suplexed by Shelton. Then we end up backstage again, and Mark Davis is in the parking lot, and he's looking around trying to find Jack Perry.
So he also has a huge bandage over his face because apparently Jack might have used a screwdriver or somebody used a screwdriver to try to poke his eye out.
Yes. And when he turns around, he hears a horn. And it is Jack Perry driving the Jurassic Express. And he tries to run over Mark Davis, but Mark Davis runs away before he gets hit. And this specific moment was filmed live. They did not tape this because somebody who had seats on the top of the arena actually saw the bus crash from his seat behind him and uploaded the video.
Oh dear.
Shelton Benjamin did a German suplex off of an apron into a table. Bobby Lashley just started throwing people around and putting Mark Davis through tables, spearing him through tables, because Mark Davis ended up back at ringside after he got away from being attempted run over.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega hit a One-Wing Angel off the apron into a table on Andrade.
Uh-huh.
Then Ricochet is left all alone.
Well, and then the Bucks actually did like moonsaults or some 450 splashes onto the dogs to put them through tables.
Elbow drop and swanton into tables on the outside.
Yeah, so I had a feeling this was going to happen. The usual pattern of like Stadium Stampede matches is like one team gets like wiped out. You don't know which side, and then like a thing happens. I don't know if it ever led to like the finish, but basically what happened was that this led to the finish. Ricochet's partners are all taken out. He's left alone. He's basically eating everybody else's finisher. And I guess this is the only small part of this match I didn't like. The finish was not Ricochet getting pinned by Jericho through the lion salt. It was Bishop Khan just comes in and saves Rico at the last second. And then it's Bishop Khan that takes the pin. And I was like,
yes,
I don't think that's how it should have ended.
Bishop Khan took a V trigger and then 7 simultaneous super kicks. I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but this was probably Bobby Lashley's first and only super kick ever. um, but yes, the reason that Bishop Khan took the pin was because they set up a rematch between Ricochet and Jericho on Dynamite, where everybody was banned from ringside. And I noticed that nowhere when they announced this match did they say that it was the final showdown between Chris Jericho and Ricochet. I think it ended up being the final showdown between Chris Jericho and Ricochet because Jericho got the win. And after the match, for some reason, he was attacked by Tommaso Ciampa. I don't know why. We don't know the reason why yet. But I imagine that Jericho is now done with Ricochet and is going to feud with Tommaso Ciampa.
Yes, another bald guy.
Why, I do not know. Hopefully, we will find out soon.
Yep.
No idea what's going on with the Young Bucks. No idea what's going on with the Demand going forward or the Hurt Syndicate. Because they were not on the 3-hour Dynamite at all. None of them. So yeah, the Elite win the match, and that brings us the Elite's team wins the match. I also I forgot to mention earlier, Jim Ross was on commentary for the Moxley Kyle O'Reilly match. And he seemed to make a mistake at the end of the match where he said that Jon Moxley was the new champion.
Oh.
I mean, I get that the guy's really old, and it was the only match he worked, and supposedly he has like pre-dementia or something. I don't know if that has been confirmed or whatever, but it was cool to have Jim Ross on one match on the show. So that brings us to the main event. It was the AEW World Championship match. Darby Allin defending against MJF. The story that was built to this match was amazing. MJF, I mean, some people did not like the fact that MJF beat Kenny Omega and then lost to Darby Allin 2 days later. Why would he lose to Darby but beat Kenny Omega? And I get, and it doesn't bother me. I get it. I get the story. Like, oh, he wasn't prepared for this, and he didn't know he was going to face Darby because he didn't look at social media, and he didn't let Renee tell him when she tried to tell him multiple times. But he shouldn't be beating Kenny Omega and then losing to Darby, because Kenny Omega and Darby are on totally different levels when it comes to wrestling. Not to say that Darby is a bad wrestler, and I very much enjoy Darby. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't really bother me. I just get why people would say that. Regardless of that, Darby Allin would win the AEW World title from MJF and subsequently defend the title on every single TV leading to this show. He defended the title 8 times in a span of 3 weeks or 4 weeks. But the fact of the matter is he had the most title defenses of anybody in that span of time. He's had more title defenses than Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Darby held the title for 39 days from April 15 to May 24th. He won it in Seattle area, his hometown. And I mean, the story worked out. Like, a lot of people said, how did MJF beat Kenny Omega in a 40-minute match and then go on to lose to Darby Allin? Well, there was a thing there in that MJF cheated in the previous encounter and then used a headlock takeover to get the pin. Well, in the match here in Washington, basically Darby got the jump on MJF, hit him with like 4 coffin drops, and then used the headlock takeover to pin him and become the AEW champion.
Yep.
Now you think that was a bit of a dud losing, like MJF losing it like that, but then in the subsequent title defenses against like some of the top guys in the company, yeah, like who defends a world championship in like 3 weeks and has like 8 title matches in this, which is more than you can say for like certain people within a calendar year, right? So it's it also fits Darby's whole personality.
Yeah.
Live fast, die young. I don't care what it will be.
And it was great storytelling that he like with each defense he was getting more and more worn out, and each match was getting, like all of them were great. The Tommaso Ciampa match, which was his first defense, was amazing. The match with Brody, amazing. The match with Takeshita, amazing. I don't agree that Takeshita should have got a world title match right before having his match on this show, but I digress. Mike Bailey match was the last defense. That was very good. The Sammy Guevara match, very good.
Like, the one with Pac was I saw clips of that. That was kind of just all over the place, right?
Yeah, that was also very good. And that was the one in the golf place. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was cool. But yeah, I mean, Darby had the most convincing 39-day title reign of anybody. He proved that he was not going to stop. That he was, and it got to a point where it was just too much. And this is exactly what we expected. We knew that like MJF was gonna. I mean, when Dynasty happened, we predicted like Darby's probably going to win that belt, and he did. And yeah, I mean, I never would have guessed that he was going to defend the belt in every match leading up to this pay-per-view, but I love that he did. And that is exactly, like you said, that is the exact kind of reign that you would expect from somebody like Darby Allin. And I imagine if he ever does win the world title again, it'll be something very similar. And that is also why I fully expected MJF to regain the championship here, which he does. And once again, in a hell of a match. I mean, it's no surprise. MJF is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he always has good matches. Always. With whoever it is. And this match was no exception to the rule. Him and Darby have great chemistry. They have great history, even before AEW. And yeah, there was great moments in this match. Now, we've run into this problem, and it's not really a problem. It's just something that they need to acknowledge. What is the line between referees' discretion? Because, like, we keep talking about how these world title matches are not no DQ.
Yeah.
But things keep happening that would absolutely result in a DQ. Like, for example, a package pile driver onto some steel steps. That's not
well. That happens a lot, and it's just like, oh, match continuing, okay.
Yeah. Of course, Darby just does not quit no matter what. And there was a lot of trading of moves here and like back and forth action, and they keep doing that, the bringing back the headlock takeover thing in all of their matches, which I like as like a thing that they do in their history. Darby tried to win very early by doing it like right away, and of course Max was ready for it. My favorite part about this match is at no point did MJF try to cheat.
I'm glad you brought that up because I believe the match finished with MJF doing a normal wrestling move instead of like resorting to the dynamite diamond ring or a low blow or a steel chair or anything. He didn't cheat at all. I mean, he may have looked like he wanted to, but he didn't, and that's very interesting.
Yes. Of course, I forgot to mention that also MJF's hair was on the line.
Yes, how could we forget? He so desperately wanted a rematch, and Darby like basically said no because Max, you put other people through so many hoops when you were champion. You're gonna have to give up something so important to you to like earn this one. And it was like, yeah, bro, if you lose, you cut your hair off.
Yeah,
And nobody thinks about that. But then you're like, oh yeah, he shoots movies now. It's
and
gonna look really weird if he walks around bald.
and he already has hair plugs, so that's going to be very painful. um, but yeah, no, we never expected MJF to lose, even with that stipulation. But another moment, so there was a barber chair at the top of the stage.
Yes, they did set it
Uh,
up for the purpose.
yes, so they ended up fighting up the ramp, and MJF tried to shave Darby's head during the match. I don't imagine that Darby would care very much if his head got shaved. He only has a
Yeah.
bone. But there was a very distinct stage decoration during this show. Because the show was in Queens, there was some scaffolding on
Yeah.
the entranceway, which is a
New York City scaffolding, which I believe is very commonplace.
yes. And Darby, of course, climbed up there and jumped off and you know did a I believe it was what was it, a coffin drop onto Max while he was
I
on.
feel like it was a coffin drop or a swanton or something, but the point is he hit it and Max stayed on the table for it.
Well, yeah, of course he had to.
Which was really ugly.
That was a big drop. If he would have just landed on the table, he would have fucking broke his back. While he was doing that, he did like a bang bang for Cactus Jack. It was a coffin drop onto a table. And they end up back in the ring, and at some point he's got the Scorpion Deathlock on, but Darby is just so worn out that he can't keep the hold on from all of his defenses. Um, but Darby kicks out of everything. Kicks out of the Heat Seeker. He kicks out of everything that MJF gives him. Not until they end up on the top rope, and MJF hits a super tombstone pile driver off of the top rope for the pin. After he hits a headlock takeover after the tombstone. And MJF, once again, is your world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
This tombstone pile driver finish became a point of contention on social media. I don't remember the name of the account, it does not matter. But this one particular account on social media was complaining that MJF hit Darby with everything and he kicked out, but he lost to a basic super tombstone pile driver. And everybody in the replies was like, there is nothing basic about a super tombstone pile driver. You try getting your head slammed into the mat from that height. Like, to the point where when Mark Davis and Jack Perry faced on Dynamite, the finish to that match was a twisting sit-out pile driver from the top rope. And a lot of people were like, oh no, not another basic twisting tombstone, super tombstone pile driver from the middle rope. I don't know who this account was, but he definitely got got destroyed for saying that. So after the match, MJF, is gloating, puts his foot on Darby while Darby is on a stretcher, and Kevin Knight runs out. Kevin Knight, previously, I believe on Dynamite, had told Darby Allin that he must beat MJF for the sake of AEW and for everybody in AEW. And he failed to do that. So Kevin Knight chases off MJF and ends up on the top rope and hits Darby with the UFO splash while Darby is on the stretcher. And then he flips over the stretcher with Darby strapped to it. And the show ends with MJF applauding Kevin Knight for doing this. Then Kevin Knight opens Dynamite and talks about how Darby let him down because he did not do what I asked him to do, which was to beat MJF. MJF acted like he did it for him, like Kevin Knight was on his side. But Kevin Knight said he wanted nothing to do with MJF. He just wanted to be the guy to beat him when the time comes, which shouldn't be happening if he is the TNT champion. But he did say the whole Jet 2 belts thing. And he ended up backstage, and Don Callis walks up to him and said that his services are available, and that this is when Kyle Fletcher looks at the TNT title and walks away.
There was also another clip of, I don't think it was officially on the show, where Kevin Knight is walking around backstage and he walks past Swerve Strickland.
Yes.
And Swerve just stared at him. Because a few weeks ago, Swerve was telling Kevin Knight he needed to be more aggressive. He needed to, something, stand out,
This was in March.
Yeah. Oh, this was in March, sorry.
Yeah.
It was a while back.
Yeah. But yes, you're right. So Kevin Knight does a promo in the ring, and he is interrupted by Mike Bailey. Mike Bailey is like, "Oh, Kevin, you didn't have to do what you did, and it's not too late. You can still apologize and make things right." Mike Bailey just being the forever baby face.
Peacemaker.
It's like, "Oh, you can make it right. You can do the right thing." And Kevin Knight just nudges him and then attacks him. And it's been made official that next week on Dynamite, Mike Bailey will challenge Kevin Knight for the TNT title, and Jet Speed is no more.
Mm-hmm.
It was inevitable. That was going to happen eventually.
Yeah. Shida's gone. Jet Speed's gone. Yeah, a lot of teams are being dissolved.
But I'm very excited to see what Kevin Knight does as a heel. He's already getting major heat just for what he did to Darby, and he didn't even do anything that bad. He just gave him a UFO splash on a stretcher and flipped over the stretcher. He didn't try to murder the guy. But he's getting major heat because of how over Darby is. So we will see what is. People have been saying for years now that Kevin Knight is primed to be a top guy. He has all the tools. He has everything. MJF obviously can see that, putting him over recently. A report recently just came out that MJF pulled for this Darby title run, and he played a big role in Darby getting that opportunity, even though it was already in the cards. But he wanted it to happen because I imagine him and Darby are actually pretty close as people coming up.
Colleagues, co-workers.
Yeah.
Start with that.
Yeah. So obviously MJF can see talent. He knows that Darby is good. Um, I have one issue with MJF's celebration on Dynamite, and it is the inclusion of one specific person.
Okay.
And his name is Mark Briscoe. I've seen MJF versus Mark Briscoe multiple times. I do not need to see it again for a world title. So MJF had a celebration on Dynamite to celebrate the fact that he is now the eighth person in history of wrestling as a whole to be a 3-time world champion by the age of 30. I'm trying to pull up the list of the other 7 people. I know Randy Orton, John Cena, and Shinsuke Nakamura are on that list. I don't remember who else. I'm trying to pull it up right now. But yes, Mark Briscoe interrupts MJF and says, "Oh, I remember when I beat you. That means I should be in line for the title." And MJF is like, "No, it doesn't. I don't want anything to do with you. We're done. You don't deserve a title shot. You haven't won any matches since you beat me." And
So here's where I would contend with that, because the last time Mark Briscoe beat MJF, he beat MJF so badly, MJF essentially disappeared from TV for weeks, and I guess said he had to reassess himself or something. So you'd think that MJF would want to rectify that situation, but apparently not, because he's a champion, to do whatever he wants. But then what's interesting is that MJF, as soon as he starts leaving the ring area, Roosh comes out and, in typical Roosh fashion, basically said that you haven't beaten me. And MJF said, "You know what? You're someone who could be champion. You look good. You're jacked. You got long hair. You could represent this company, not like Chicken Farmer over here."
And Roosh has been on a streak of wins on Dynamite. And and before this pay-per-view, put his name on the list of wanting. He put out a challenge for whoever won the world title at Double or Nothing. So it was expected that this would happen. I expected him to come out. I did not, 100%, did not expect Mark Briscoe to come out. I would like MJF to face somebody different.
Which you are getting as of next week Dynamite in Richmond. We will get MJF versus Roosh for the AEW World Title. I just didn't like the segment because Mark just stood in the ring looking very confused, and I'm like, okay, so what is Mark's involvement with this? Is he gonna face MJF afterwards, or because Mark Briscoe was on one hand started conglomerating again. Now he's like wanting the world title shot.
Yeah,
I
imagine they'll do that before Forbidden Door. I don't imagine that'll be MJF's match at Forbidden Door. Well, we'll see. So the 8 men who have won world championships 3 times by the age of 30 are as follows: Lou Thesz, The Rock, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, John Cena, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kazuchika Okada, and now MJF. So yeah,
that's a tall order. Lou Thesz.
Yep.
Oh man.
So MJF is in very big company there. So good for him. Very cool. I mentioned earlier that there's a little show happening in your neck of the woods in July, or near your neck of the woods.
Montreal is like 6 hours away from Toronto, everybody.
Yeah. And Kenny Omega really wants to be the world champ again. And I do not think that MJF versus Will Ospreay is the match for All In. However, with everything that's been going on recently and that little tease that we got between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, I do wholeheartedly believe that the All In match is Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega for the world title. So I fully believe that Kenny Omega is going to win the world title at Redemption and hold it until All In, where he will face Will Ospreay once again. And hopefully they have just as good a match as the one that you got to see in person. But yes, I fully believe that as things stand right now, MJF will not be world champion going into All In. I don't know that. I don't know anything. I'm just speculating, but I fully hope and expect that Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega is the match for All In, where Will Ospreay will win, because we've all kind of known that that's inevitable. But yeah, I don't know what MJF does after losing the title again. I imagine they'll have something for him. Obviously, he's one of their biggest stars, unless he goes away to film stuff again.
Which could be possible. You never know, right?
Yeah. I imagine he'll be on All In regardless, but I don't know who he will be facing. But yeah, I fully expect Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay at All In. That is my prediction. That is my hope, because I do want to see that match again, especially on that big of a stage. And I kind of don't want to see Will Ospreay versus MJF on All In again. I've seen that already. I've seen Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega, but I haven't seen it for a world title on All In. That is a whole nother level to that match. So we will see. I am very excited for the future of AEW. Of course, they really got to fix that women's division stuff. That is their biggest thing right now. Yes, AEW is on a very big hot streak right now, and they're killing it in pretty much every department except their women's division. They really got to fix that shit. And I don't know what it will take. Obviously, when Mercedes comes back, that'll help a lot. Because we don't know when as far as we know, Tony Storm is done for the rest of the year. We don't know why. Obviously, people have their speculation, but nobody knows why. That's just what we've been told. Willow, I think she needs shoulder surgery. She's going to be gone for a while. Hopefully she doesn't miss All In. That would suck. And yeah, there's always the opportunity for Britt Baker to come back. It's always there. Because she does still work for that company. She just doesn't talk about wrestling on her social media at all. So we will see. Alan, give us your closing thoughts on the show.
Yeah, overall, I thought this was a solid pay-per-view. I liked how it started with the tag team I Quit match that had a good feel and result for me. I totally expected MJF to win. I just didn't know how he would win. So I was pleasantly surprised that he won cleanly, which I think, would be is something he should do more, even as a heel. It shows that I might be a bad guy, but hey, I'm good. You know why? Because I can beat you clean with a headlock takeover or whatever. I actually thoroughly enjoyed, to be honest, the Stadium Stampede, despite all the really confusing bits and all that other stuff. It was just like absolute clusterfuck of like just things, and it was just like this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and overall this was all very solid. It's all very solid.
Yeah. I thought that this show was perfectly balanced. I thought that like I said at the top, I thought every match was either good, great, or amazing. And it this is an all timer of a show. The eighth edition of Double or Nothing is going to be remembered as one of AEW's best shows ever. Um, and yeah, we'll see what we're going to get in the coming months, weeks. As we mentioned, Double or Nothing uh, is their second biggest show of the year, and it certainly felt like it was for sure. Um, no Hangman. Don't know when we're getting him back. Um, I imagine it'll be soon. I imagine he'll have some kind of involvement at All In, but we don't know when he's coming back. Forbidden Door is next. I want to say we're going to do a fantasy book, but we didn't do one last year because it is so.
We didn't have
well,
didn't have enough information.
It was the timing because they changed the. Usually Forbidden Door was in like it is this year in July, but last year it was in August after All In. So it was very hard to do it last year, and I would like to do it again. It's very hard to put these cards together, and like especially now, like Bullet Club's gone, Hiromu Takahashi's gone, Tetsuya Naito's gone, Tanahashi's retired. So it's very hard to like imagine what this card could actually be. Obviously, we know Ospreay versus Swerve is happening. That's happening. I think. And that's going to be on that show. Everything else could be literally anything. Literally anything. So we will see. So that is going to do it for us. Make sure to go to our linktree / Going Over Big Time podcast for all the ways to watch and listen to this podcast, as well as social medias for us and the podcast itself. The podcast is now on Twitter or X, if you prefer, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Facebook. So you can follow us on all of those platforms as well as subscribe to the YouTube. So that is going to do it for us. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.